most misunderstood symbols were never superstitious. The scarab. There's something curious about the way history is being told to us. We were taught that certain symbols were nothing more than superstition charms from ancient people who didn't understand science. But what if the opposite is true? What if some of the most misunderstood symbols in human history were actually sophisticated translations of natural principles that we are only now beginning to rationally comprehend? The Egyptian scarab is often seen as a mystical talisman associated with death. But that's just the surface. Behind that small figure lies biological observation, early astronomy, moral psychology, and a surprisingly advanced understanding of cycles, identity, and responsibility. It wasn't blind idol worship. It was a deep reading of reality. Perhaps modern discomfort isn't with the symbol itself, but with what it reveals. That transformation does not depend on miracles, but on conscious movement, and that removes everyone's favorite excuse. If a simple insect inspired an entire civilization to reflect on rebirth, what could it teach today to someone who constantly complains about their own stagnation? If you look closely, you'll realize the scarab is not about death. It's about authorship, and when that key turns in someone's mind, it's not just the interpretation of a symbol that changes, it's the way they begin to see their own life. Origin. The insect that revealed a cosmic principle. In ancient Egypt, while empires rose and fell along the banks of the Nile, someone had the sensitivity to observe what almost everyone else would ignore. A small beetle pushing a sphere across the desert. It wasn't a random act, it was persistent, methodical, almost stubborn, and curiously, it happened under the same sun that crossed the sky each day, as if it too were being pushed by an invisible force. This wasn't dismissed as cheap superstition. It was recognized as pattern, and where there is pattern, there is principle. Scientifically, the scarab rolls organic matter to ensure survival and reproduction. It deposits its eggs inside the sphere, and from it, life emerges. To the Egyptians, it appeared as spontaneous creation, but above all, it represented visible transformation. The sun disappeared at the horizon and reappeared at dawn. The insect buried its sphere and new life emerged from it. Nature was teaching something profound. Renewal is not a miracle. It is a cycle. And those who understand cycles stop fearing endings, because they recognize that endings carry invisible seeds. A wise mentor would say the modern problem is not lack of information, but lack of observation. How often does someone complain about their routine without ever analyzing what they keep repeating? The scarab pushes every day, not out of drama, but out of biological purpose. Perhaps the better question isn't why is this happening to me, but what am I pushing daily that is shaping my destiny? That is how a simple insect stopped being just part of desert fauna and became a symbol that would cross millennia, gaining a meaning far greater than anyone could have imagined in that first attentive glance. History. From funerary amulet to royal seal of power. As dynasties passed, the scarab ceased to be merely an observation of nature and began to occupy sacred space within Egyptian tombs. Small carvings were placed over the chests of mummies, especially the so-called hot scarabs, inscribed with passages from the Book of the Dead. They were not decoration. They were symbols loaded with historical and spiritual significance, representing conscience, memory, and responsibility before eternity. The insect that rolled matter in the desert now accompanied kings and nobles into the afterlife. But something fascinating happened. The symbol left the tombs and entered the palaces. Pharaohs began using scarabs as official seals, engraving their names and achievements upon them. One striking example was the reign of Amenhotep III, who produced large commemorative scarabs to record important political events. Do you see the movement? The symbol of transformation did not remain confined to death. It became a mark of authority in life. It communicated permanence, power, and cultural identity within the Egyptian empire. There is a strategic lesson here. Symbols do not survive by accident. They survive because they carry emotional and social utility. Today, personal brands function the same way. Those who build solid reputations, sign their projects with consistency, and honor their commitments, create an invisible seal. The scarab teaches that authority is not born from shouting. It is born from coherence, repeated over time. And when a symbol represents both earthly power and transcendence, it begins to touch something even deeper, something that connects politics, spirituality, and consciousness, religion, Khepri, and the sun that rises every day. Within Egyptian cosmology, the scarab received a divine name, Khepri, the manifestation of the rising sun. Unlike Ra at midday or Atum at sunset, Khepri represented the moment of becoming. The instant light returns after darkness. The word associated with him literally meant to become, to transform. It wasn't merely an external deity. It was a principle of continuous movement. The sun did not simply appear. It became visible again. In funerary rituals, particularly in the judgment of the soul before Osiris, the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of Mat. The heart scarab was placed there as a symbol of conscience, almost as if whispering, "May my own heart not betray me." This is profoundly psychological. It was not simplistic magic, but moral accountability. The message was clear. You become what you cultivate internally, and no one can push that weight for you. A wise mentor would say that higher spirituality is not escaping reality, but assuming authorship over it. If Khepri represents becoming, then every sunrise is a silent invitation to review your choices. Perhaps a simple practice is waking up and asking, who am I becoming through today's decisions? Small actions, reading 10 pages of a powerful book like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, or correcting an impulsive action from the day before, are modern ways of honoring this ancient principle. And when a symbol begins to speak about daily awareness, it stops being merely religious and starts revealing a teaching that is practical and uncomfortably transformative. Deep meaning. Transformation is not a miracle, it is movement. What the scarab truly teaches is not luck, magic, or sudden divine intervention. It teaches movement. The insect does not wait for the sphere to roll by itself. It pushes. And it pushes under the scorching sun, facing obstacles, adjusting direction when necessary. Transformation, in nature's logic, is not an extraordinary event. It is a continuous process, and process demands active participation. Many people wait for the right moment, the big opportunity, or a sign from the universe. But the scarab would never have been noticed if it had remained still waiting for inspiration. It acts fierce. Modern behavioral science confirms this. Action precedes motivation far more often than the reverse. Those who start small, waking 30 minutes earlier, organizing basic finances, caring for their body with simple discipline, initiate a self-reinforcing cycle. Movement creates energy, and energy sustains movement. An experienced mentor would say calmly, rebirth is not something that happens to you. It is something you build daily. It is not about changing your life in one dramatic leap, but about pushing your own sphere a little further each day. An honest question. What are you willing to push, even when no one is watching? Because the symbol that began as an observation of nature ends as a mirror of personal responsibility. And when someone truly understands that, they rarely see their routine the same way again. Now, the question stops being historical and becomes personal. If the scarab represents movement, consciousness, and authorship, what are you doing with that knowledge? Will you admire the symbol or apply the principle? Understanding cycles is interesting, but taking responsibility for them is transformative. And let's be honest, that takes courage. Think carefully. What patterns have you been repeating over the past few months? Are they bringing you closer to the person you want to become, or simply reinforcing the same version of yourself? If transformation is not a miracle but movement, what small concrete action can you begin today? Wake up earlier. Organize your finances. Invest in strategic reading. Change a silent habit that no one sees, but you know needs to change. The scarab didn't wait for applause to push its sphere. It did it because it was its nature. Perhaps yours is to evolve, but that depends on decision. So tell me in the comments, what are you going to start pushing today? And if this content resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because there are still many misunderstood symbols, and each one may reveal another layer of your own transformation.